What's going on, guys? Hope you're having an absolutely fantastic day. So in this video, I have some new evidence that leads me to believe that Alameda Research is getting liquidated right now. So obviously none of this is confirmed, but by the time the official announcement comes out from Alameda Research or SBF or whoever, it'll be too late, right? Your assets will already be at zero and Alameda Research will be bankrupt, right? So we'll start off with the FTT price, and you can see over the past 8 hours, it's down a staggering 30%. So why is this important? So the FTT on Alameda's researchers' balance sheet is basically $5.8 billion, right? So if you can see that it's already down about 30, 40, or 50%, right? From the time that they value these FTT tokens, right? And another thing is also very weird. How can they have 5.8 billion FTT tokens when basically the whole market cap was at 8 point something billion at that time, right? Do they account for all the locked tokens as full value as well, right? But going back to it, so basically why is it important is because this 5.8 billion is probably sitting around 3.5 billion or something like that now. And my take is that they probably took out loans on top of this FTT token, right? If not, they wouldn't have borrowed it from SBF anyways, right? So SBF could have just kept it in a ledger somewhere and basically just do nothing with it. But he transferred it over to this trading firm, right? Which leads me to believe this trading firm uses this FTT as collateral to take out loans, right? So maybe they show whatever institution that, look, we have 5.8 billion in FTT. Can you borrow us maybe 2 billion or something like that, right? So that's only a 33% ratio. And you might think that, who's so stupid to believe them to give them the money, right? But at that time, obviously, if you're looking at 6 billion as collateral and then you loan them 2 billion and you get to do the business and you get the interest, then it looks like a very attractive offer, right? Especially if you think that, you know, if everything goes to shit, then we can just take the 6 billion of collateral, right? Obviously, along the way, when it becomes, let's say, the collateral goes down in value, you will margin call them, right? And that is what I believe is happening right now, right? So we just take a look at SBF's Twitter. A competitor is trying to go after us with rumors. FTX is fine. Assets are fine. Details. So FTX has enough to cover all client holdings. We don't invest client assets even in treasuries. So we have been processing all withdrawals and will continue to be. So some details on the withdrawal speed, they are saying that the withdrawals are slow or what. I've seen people complaining about this, but obviously if they are getting hit with so many withdrawals, it's to be expected, right? That doesn't mean it's a sign of them going bankrupt, right? So it's heavily regulated. Even when that slows us down, we have gap audits with excess of 1 billion in cash, right? We have a long history of safeguarding client assets, and that remains true today. So I love it, CZ Binance, if we could work together for the ecosystem, right? So notice how he didn't talk about Alameda in this Twitter thread, right? So what I want you guys to focus on, first of all, Alameda and FTX are not the same corporation, right? If Alameda goes down, FTX can still be fine, right? Granted, maybe the FTT tokens will dump or whatever, but FTX can still be fine, right? As long as they didn't leverage themselves up and they didn't take any client funds and invest it somewhere else, right? So they can actually still be fine even if Alameda goes under, right? So this is Caroline. Basically, Caroline is Alameda's one of the head traders, or she's one of the CEO or CFO or whatever manager, right? So a few notes on the balance sheet info that have been circulating recently. That specific balance sheet is for a subset of our corporate entities. We have 10 billion of assets that aren't reflected there. So the balance sheet breaks down out a few of our biggest long positions, and we have obviously have hedges that aren't listed. So this part I don't really believe them, because how can you hedge against such a big position when the market is illiquid, right? So that is pretty impossible from my standpoint to do it, right? Unless they have options with banks or what, and then you have to think that the banks are actually third-party risks as well, right? So given the tightening in the crypto credit space this year, we have returned most of our loans by now, right? So whether you believe all these statements or not, that is something else, right? So clearly the market doesn't believe them, right? If not, it wouldn't be selling off so hard, right? So next I want to say, take a look at this, and this is a new evidence that basically they are selling it off, right? Yeah, so it's here. So Benzo basically tweeted that BitDAO community is questioning the sudden dump of BIT token caused by Alameda dumping and breaching the 3-year mutual no-sale public commitment. So nothing is confirmed, but BitDAO community would like proof of funds, right? From one of my Telegram groups, I think this guy is well informed. I've been talking to him for a few days, so I'm not going to confirm or deny this, but I think it's quite accurate. If not, he wouldn't say it. So in 2021, Alameda Research converted 3.36 million of FTT, 1% of the supply, to 100 million BIT, right? So 1% of the total, right? So the two sides have a mutual agreement that they won't sell within 3 years. But apparently this guy is saying that, basically Alameda have sold, right? And why is that important? That's important because if this is actually true, and you can see Caroline replied to busy at the moment, but that wasn't us. We'll get you proof of funds when things calm down, right? And this is never a good sign, right? Because if you are actually legit, right, you'll just like call someone, okay, take a picture, proof of funds, send it to them, right? So it will de-escalate the situation, right? But you tweeting this would seem to be that they're just buying some time or trying to get some time to sort out this situation, right? Which looks unlikely to be sorted out based on this chart, right? If they did use this as collateral and if they don't have the 10 billion balance sheet that they're talking about, right? So the next thing I want to talk about is actually this Caroline Capital, right? She actually offered to buy the 500 million of FTT off Binance's hands, right? So that would have been very good because they talked about it at $22, right? And someone basically retweeted. I couldn't find the post. Maybe it's got deleted or something, right? But someone basically retweeted, right? So with what money? And then they showed the FTX reserves, right? But obviously, again, FTX and Alameda is two separate companies, right? So Alameda may still have been able to gain some reserves to buy it up, right? And I'll tell you why this sign is very important. Because if they manage to buy it up, right, so their collateral would have remained at $22 per FTT. Basically, they set a floor for the FTT, right, and it wouldn't go so low, right? So the reason that I'm saying they are getting hit by margin calls is because when it goes so low, right, I'm sure they will ask you to put up more collateral. And with Solana price basically going down, FTT price basically going down, Serum going down. So if you're enjoying the video so far, do help me smash up the like button, hit subscribe, and also hit the bell button and press on all, right? So this will really help out the channel. And also watch till the end, right? Because obviously you don't want to miss any important information. I'm sure a lot of this makes up their capital, right? So what will end up happening is basically they actually had the capital, but because of the panic, their capital ratios are going down and down and down until some point that they get margin call and basically they don't have any more forms of money, right? Because they don't have cash sitting in the bank, they have assets that the market dictates the value, right? So maybe this analogy can help you understand it a bit, right? Imagine you took out a housing loan, and this is why housing loans are good, right? This is why you can use loans for housing, but not equities, right? So you take out a loan for your house, no matter what happens, as long as you make the monthly payments, you're good, right? They can't seize the house from you, right? But what if you take out a 2 million loan on this house, and they say that, if the value of this house goes to 1.5 million, we can ask you to put up more collateral. So why would you need to take a loan in the first place? Either you want to leverage yourself up or you don't have the money to buy this house, right? So what ends up happening is, in this situation, this house went from 2 million to 1.5 million, and now you have to put up more collateral, or you basically they take back the house, right? So this is what's happening with FTT on Alameda's researchers' balance sheet. And basically, at the moment, no one trusts that this collateral is actually worth the value, right? It's kind of like in the housing crisis where the mortgages that were given out, they have a certain price tag on it, right? But the price tag is basically inaccurate because these markets are illiquid. So what ended up happening in the financial crisis, just an example, there's 10 players playing musical chairs, and those are the only 10 buyers, right? So when 2 buyers step out, right, the whole market becomes incredibly insolvent and illiquid, right? So I just need to change slides because that thing is quite distracting. So the whole market becomes illiquid and insolvent. And what ends up happening is the value of those things, let's say it's marked at 100. So we're not talking about intrinsic value right now. We're talking about price, right? So it can go from $100, the mark price, to $50. And that ends up causing a domino effect because the other banks actually hold those assets on their books as well, right? So let's say if you have, let's say 100 billion in collateral, and tomorrow, just because of the market price change, right, it is now marked at 50 billion, right? So how are you going to come up with the other 50 billion, right? So this is the situation that basically Alameda Research is faced with at the moment, right? So another thing you can ask is, what is the intrinsic value of those loans, right? And the intrinsic value could even be 100 billion, 200 billion, even 300 billion, right? But obviously, at this moment, people believe that the intrinsic value is lower, so the price is reflecting that, right? So the last thing I want to look at is a potential play, right, actually. So I think Solana might be actually a potential buy for me, right? Because you can see that over just the past 3 days, Solana has shed about, from its high, it's shed about $12 of its market cap, right? And that's about 30 odd percent, right? So it's hitting really big support right now. And also there is liquidity for these big firms to get out, right? If they are dumping Solana, right? I wouldn't even be surprised if Alameda and FTX are actually dumping Solana so they can have some collateral, so they can have liquidity to meet all their margin calls right now, right? Because you can see that Solana is actually a 9 billion market cap, but they have so much trading volume. So the more trading volume you have, the more less price impact when you sell, right? You can take a look at FTT. It's a 2 billion market cap. It has 1.6 billion in trading volume, right? But if you look at last time, it was around I think a $5 billion market cap or 4 billion market cap, and their trading volume every day was less than 100 million, right? So that is obviously when you start selling, there is huge price impact, right? So as you can see that when this is getting sold, there's a 30% drop just in 8 hours, right? So I think that there are some whales selling, right? So I know Binance is definitely a seller, but are they purposely pushing the price out? All these questions, I cannot have the answer for you because I'm not them, right? It's important to note that even if FTX and Alameda goes down, right? So Solana will still, as an entity, as a corporate value, right? It won't be reduced to zero, right? So if FTX goes down, obviously the FTT token will go to zero, right? Most probably. So that is my point, right? So if you're looking to play this whole mess, I think Solana is one of the best proxies, right? Because the value is only going down because people are scared that, you know, when Alameda and also FTX goes bankrupt, that's what they think at the moment. Like both entities combined, whatever they go bankrupt, they will sell Solana, right? But in my opinion, and this is just opinion, speculation, call it whatever you want to call it, they are already selling Solana right now because you see the volumes are just really, really insane. And also it's probably the only place that they can get liquidity out. So by the time FTX or Alameda Research announces bankruptcy, right, I think Solana will already like hit the bottom or it's near to finish the selling pressure already. Because it might spike down because of the bad news, because short sellers and all, right. But in my opinion, that would be a huge opportunity to buy, right? Because by the time you announce for bankruptcy, right, you already liquidated everything. That is why you are in that position, right? You liquidated everything and there's still not enough cash. So that is how you end up in bankruptcy court, right? So these are my thoughts at the moment right now. I feel like this situation is very fascinating. Obviously very scary. A lot of people losing money. But you do have to pay attention because these times also call for opportunity, right? So yeah, that's about all I wanted to share today. If you did enjoy the video, do help me smash up the like button, hit subscribe and hit the bell button, and comment below what do you think is going on. With that being said, have a fantastic day ahead and peace out.